Suffering has a noble purpose, the evolution of consciousness and the burning up of the ego. Eckhart Tolle. The conscious transformation of suffering has divine consequences. Filo. When you enter this timeless dimension of the present, change often comes about in strange ways, without the need for a great deal of doing on your part. Life becomes helpful and cooperative. Eckhart Tolle. The present is not always beautiful, but it's always beautiful to be present. Filo. One conscious breath, 2 or 3 would be even better, taken many times a day, is an excellent way of bringing space into your life. Eckhart Tolle. Consciousness transcends breath, space, and time. Filo. On a deeper level, you are already complete. And when you realize that, there is a playful, joyous energy behind what you do. Eckhart Tolle. When one experiences the joy of loving presence, me turns into we. Filo. Watch what happens when you don't name an experience as bad, and instead bring an inner acceptance, an inner yes to it, and so let it be as it is. Eckhart Tolle. Negative emotions feed on the energies required to stay rooted in the present. Filo. Are you worried? Do you have many what if thoughts? You are identified with your mind, which is projecting itself into an imaginary future situation and creating fear. There is no way that you can cope with such a situation because it doesn't exist. It's a mental phantom. Eckhart Tolle. All these thoughts that you take to be yourself arise from out of nowhere and disappear into the void. Ponder this. Philo. When you realize that what you react to in others is also in you, and sometimes only in you, you begin to become aware of your own ego. Eckhart Tolle. Interesting how the biggest egos in the world are all predicated on the smallest letter in the alphabet, I. Philo. There are 3 words that convey the secret of the art of living, the secret of all success and happiness. One with life. Being one with life is being one with now. You then realize that you don't live your life, but life lives you. Life is the dancer, and you are the dance. Eckhart Tolle. The conscious union between man and woman is sacred. In loving one, one loves all. Philo. Whatever you accept completely will take you to peace, including the acceptance that you cannot accept, that you are in resistance. Eckhart Tolle. In the end, we all have to accept the death of the body. Resistance is futile. Philo. Instead of creating expectations of what should or should not be happening, cooperate with the form that this moment takes. Eckhart Tolle. Whenever presence emerges through the fog of everyday living, think of it as a divine intervention. Philo. Being present is always infinitely more powerful than anything one could say or do, although sometimes being present can give rise to words or actions. Eckhart Tolle. Always remember that love is at the very heart of being present. Presence is what happens when love awakens. Philo. Situations don't make you unhappy. They may cause you physical pain, but they don't make you unhappy. Your faults make you unhappy. Your interpretations, the stories you tell yourself, make you unhappy. Eckhart Tolle. When all thoughts and feelings subside, you become what you are. Filo. As we age, we have the opportunity to discover our deeper essence beyond the body and express our inner beauty. Eckhart Tolle. Fortunately, aging itself will destroy the ego. Filo. If you abide in this state of acceptance, you create no more negativity, no more suffering, no more unhappiness. You then live in a state of non-resistance, a state of grace and lightness, free of struggle. Eckhart Tolle. If there is still a you, you still have not gotten to the bottom of it. Filo. When you practice routine activities, use those routine activities and be completely present. Eckhart Tolle. One awakens through the many small moments, not the few big ones. Filo. Giving space to others and to yourself is vital. Love cannot flourish without it. Eckhart Tolle. Compassion is not a voice in the head, but an impulse from the heart. Filo. Make it your practice to withdraw attention from past and future whenever they are not needed. Step out of the time dimension as much as possible in everyday life. Eckhart Tolle. Use the ringing of your cell phone as a reminder for you to wake up and be present. Filo. Resentment, hatred, self-pity, guilt, anger, depression, jealousy, and so on. Even the slightest irritation are all forms of pain. Eckhart Tolle. There is real suffering and there is imaginary suffering. Most of the time, our suffering is imaginary. Philo. Forgiveness is to offer no resistance to life, to allow life to live through you. The alternatives are pain and suffering, a greatly restricted flow of life energy, and in many cases, physical disease. The moment you truly forgive, you have reclaimed your power from the mind. Eckhart Tolle. Consciousness does not and cannot ever suffer. Philo. Death is not the opposite of life. Life has no opposite. The opposite of death is birth. Life is eternal. Eckhart Tolle. Did you ever die in a dream and then, moments later, wake up? Philo. The power is in you, the answer is in you, and you are the answer to all your searches. You are the goal. You are the answer. It's never outside. Eckhart Tolle. The lower self is the problem. The higher self is a solution. The no self is the solution. Philo. You cannot find yourself in the past or future. The only place where you can find yourself is in the now. Eckhart Tolle. The present is vivid, the past cloudy, and the future opaque. Philo. Do not resist the pain. Allow it to be there. Surrender to the grief, despair, fear, loneliness, or whatever form the suffering takes. Witness it without labeling it mentally. Embrace it. Then see how the miracle of surrender transmutes deep suffering into deep peace. Eckhart Tolle. Jesus became Christ, not because he suffered, but because he transformed suffering. Philo. You are present when what you are doing is not primarily a means to an end, money, prestige, winning, but fulfilling in itself. When there is joy and aliveness in what you do. And of course, you cannot be present unless you become friendly with the present moment. Eckhart Tolle. Being present is easy. Staying present requires practice and dedication. Philo. People believe themselves to be dependent on what happens for their happiness. That is to say, dependent on form. They don't realize that what happens is the most unstable thing in the universe. It changes constantly. Eckhart Tolle. We live in an imperfect world in order to realize perfection. Philo. Surrender is not weakness. There is great strength in it. Only a surrendered person has spiritual power. Eckhart Tolle. The death of the ego is the final surrender. Philo. Instead of having a wall of resistance inside you that gets constantly and painfully hit by things that should not be happening, let everything pass through you. Eckhart Tolle. Transform it, and suffering becomes rocket fuel for the soul. How to transform suffering? Accept and be present to it. Philo. When, instead of reacting against the situation, you merge with it, the solution arises out of the situation itself. Eckhart Tolle. Presence leaves space for your natural intelligence to emerge. Philo. The past has no power to stop you from being present now. Only your grievance about the past can do that. And what is a grievance? The baggage of old thought and emotion. Eckhart Tolle. All human interactions are exchanges of energy. When the energy gets too intense, the body-mind suffers and becomes negative. Paradoxically, the body-mind clings to the suffering, as this validates its otherwise illusory nature. Filo. Ultimately, this is not about solving your problems. It's about realizing that there are no problems, only situations to be dealt with now or to be left alone and accepted as part of the isness of the present moment until they change or can be dealt with. Eckhart Tolle. Problems are the nature of evolution. Philo. Now let your spiritual practice be this. As you go about your life, don't give 100% of your attention to the external world and to your mind. Keep some within. Eckhart Tolle. The ego will try to defeat your will with impossible goals. Keep it simple. Philo. To love is to recognize yourself in another. Eckhart Tolle. We should always remember that presence is God's love. Philo. Be aware of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral, which always is as it is. Eckhart Tolle. Mind activity is a double-edged sword. It can either help one awaken or keep one asleep. Philo. When you wash your hands, when you make a cup of coffee, when you're waiting for the elevator, instead of indulging in thinking, these are all opportunities for being there as a still, alert presence. Eckhart Tolle. Only that which silently observes is real. Philo. The flower loves it when you give it attention. Eckhart Tolle. Love has to be conscious, or it is merely biological. Filo. As far as inner transformation is concerned, there is nothing you can do about it. You cannot transform yourself, and you certainly cannot transform your partner or anybody else. All you can do is create a space for transformation to happen, for grace and love to enter. Eckhart Tolle. At a certain point, even the desire to awaken has to be shed, because it means there is still a you there. Filo. Your unhappiness ultimately arises not from the circumstances of your life, but from the conditioning of your mind. Eckhart Tolle. The things you desire are the very same things that cause you to suffer. Filo. What the future holds for you depends on your state of consciousness now. Eckhart Tolle. Every moment is a new beginning. Happy new moment. Filo. The greatest catalyst for change in a relationship is complete acceptance of your partner as he or she is, without needing to judge or change them in any way. Eckhart Tolle. When you judge others, you imprison yourself. Philo. Try this for a couple of weeks and see how it changes your reality. Whatever you think people are withholding from you, praise, appreciation, assistance, loving care, and so on, give it to them. You don't have it, just act as if you had it, and it will come. Eckhart Tolle. One can solve problems with the intellect, resolve them with the heart, or dissolve them with presence. Philo. If you suddenly feel very light, clear, and deeply at peace, that is an unmistakable sign that you have truly surrendered. Eckhart Tolle. Every time one is present, one understands more deeply there can never be separation from love, from truth, from reality. Filo. People with heavy pain bodies usually have a better chance to awaken spiritually than those with a relatively light one. Eckhart Tolle. Awakening is your divine destiny. Be patient. Filo. Where there is anger, there is always pain underneath. Eckhart Tolle. If you let go of all your inner garbage, time will dispose of it for you. Filo. If you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. Primary reality is within, secondary reality without. Eckhart Tolle. Never underestimate your inner enemies, for they are legion. Filo. Just be and enjoy being. If you are present, there is never any need for you to wait for anything. Eckhart Tolle. Nothing is mundane to an awakened mind. Filo. Acceptance means, for now, this is what this situation, this moment, requires me to do, and so I do it, willingly. Eckhart Tolle. At times, you will have to spend your days in a state of forgiveness and surrender. Days like these are precious. Filo. Life isn't as serious as my mind makes it out to be. Eckhart Tolle. If we fall prey to our many negative thoughts and feelings, the joke is on us. Filo. Whenever you become anxious or stressed, outer purpose has taken over and you lost sight of your inner purpose. You have forgotten that your state of consciousness is primary, all else secondary. Eckhart Tolle. Your inner essence is a sleeping beauty. Presence is the kiss. Filo. Always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane, than to create inner resistance to something that already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Eckhart Tolle. Philosophy fails us because it is often impractical, whereas the mystical is always practical. Filo. When, instead of reacting against the situation, you merge with it, the solution arises out of the situation itself. Eckhart Tolle. Acceptance is a panacea. Filo. Become comfortable with not knowing. Eckhart Tolle. Like the characters in a movie, we can never know what happens next, but what we can do is be there for it. Filo. If peace is really what you want, then you will choose peace. Eckhart Tolle. In order for there to be peace, there must be surrender. Filo. Remember to invite stillness into your life. Eckhart Tolle. Your moments of presence are precious and eternal. Filo.